All right.
Why did I think that was so funny?
I don't know. But well, that plays into what we're going to talk about today. So here we are.
Gee.
All right. We are behind the table with the talented, the lovely Sara Haines. Hello, Sara Haines.
Thank you for reading it like I wrote it.
No, of course. We had Sarah Silverman on today's
Yes.
show. And it's always great to have her. She's really just so funny.
She is so funny.
You did step on one of her jokes.
We went to the movies, just
Boys
me
don't
and him.
cry.
Went to, well, that was a little bit of a punchline, but
Yeah.
hey, you're killing it.
Okay, so I watched the special and I was so excited that I knew what she was saying that I jump in there. She handled it like such a tasteful boss when she's like, and that was kind of the punchline because Joy does not treat me that way.
Yeah, well, let me. We're going to talk about that in a second, but let's just talk about the part of the cool thing about doing a job like yours and mine is that we get to see everything. We get to see things early. We get to watch things, but there is a tremendous amount of content, and sometimes we get to see parts of things. Sometimes we get to read parts of a book. I mean, you guys do a pretty good job of it, but that's what I took away from that interview is you were so proud that you had seen it.
Proud that
and you wanted her to know.
And it was such a funny part because I vividly remember seeing the movie she referenced in her punchline as well. So I thought, oh my gosh, yeah. And yes, so I'm embarrassed, especially because at least Joy loves me, Whoopi loves me, to do it to someone like Sarah Silverman, who's so kind. But I was really embarrassed because I know how personal that is for comedians.
And you can always tell when people haven't seen it personally. I think it's true. I remember I used to work for a host that when he hadn't seen a movie or he didn't like a movie, he would just say, and this could be anyone, he would just say, shot really interestingly.
Well, you know what? I
there's
also
nothing else.
will never say
You'll
love
never lie.
something. I just will not lie.
Yeah.
So if I haven't read it or I won't, there's always something to be said about it. Even if there's something I didn't get to go to or the screener didn't work or something, I'll often think of something that I did like from the cast is so strong or
Right.
something. And because I really
I loved your outfits.
yeah, the promo looked great. I
Yeah.
love it, but I just feel like you have to have
have to be
pride
authentic.
in that.
Yeah.
And I take it so seriously.
That same host would also, it was my job to watch any movie for anybody that was coming on the show. And they would sometimes, right before the segment started, say to me, what happens at the end of the movie? So if I didn't watch and got nailed there, it would be so bad. Does he live or die? I think of the actor, that kind of stuff. And and sometimes he had seen the movie and was just quizzing me to see if I was telling the truth.
Well, honestly, with the volume of things we watch, I'm so grateful for our producers and researchers because the work they do, and the reason our staff is so solid is they take that very seriously.
They have to.
No one ever half-asses it. So the good part is when you bounce things off for Carly's notes are amazing. She gives this
One of
note.
our producers.
Yeah, sorry. Carly has the best notes. She doesn't forget one thing. So if you've read everything Carly wrote, you're fine. But I've worked with people before that not only don't see the content, they don't read what the producer worked so hard to do.
Right.
And it's always bothered me because then I worked with an anchor who I loved. He was always early and the other one was always late. And I always loved it because the other person never read anything. And this person said, how sad if I didn't read what producers worked so hard to do for me.
Right. I mean, on paper, for anybody at home, it sounds like the best job in the world. You're watching movies, you're seeing TV shows, you're reading books, but there's a lot of stuff. And some of it's great.
Yeah.
And some of it is okay, I got to watch another movie. And I used to, we didn't tape on Fridays, and I used to sit and just watch the entire upcoming week's movies in a row in a little movie theater. So I would sit there and watch 6 movies back to back.
That's a lot.
If 3 of them were great, it was a good day.
Yep.
But if there's 6 bad movies, oof, that's brutal.
Yeah.
These are not real problems, I know. All right, let's
No,
go back
so
to
cool.
let's go back to what Joy was talking about yesterday. We were talking about senses of humor and comedy, and you came up. So let's listen.
Sarah is an easy laugher.
Yes.
And that's why men love her, besides the fact that she's pretty and
Yes.
really gorgeous girl.
Yeah.
She's a beauty, and she laughs at this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's an incredible package if you are trying to hook a man.
Yeah. So she didn't go so far as to say you're funny. She went so far to say is that you
No, I'm
you
an easy.
laugh.
I have said I'm a great audience. I'm an easy laugh because I look for funny,
Right.
And people that don't even get me started on smart humor, like slapstick and bump. I'm a little tougher on.
Yeah.
But physical humor and smart humor, I am dead. And I love laughing so much that I'm waiting. I'm not like, you better be funny. I'm like, I'm waiting for it. Just give me something. And so Joy has teased me that I'm a bit of a comedy whore.
Yes.
And it's because I think I always loved that world. I aspired to be in it when I'm around any comedian. And oftentimes it's more female comedians. I just feel like I'm at the coolest table I've ever sat at. And I get to like, so excitedly nervous, and I remember everything they say, and it's a tacky quality, I'm sure.
Well, Joy said that when she was coming up, people didn't look at her like men didn't think she was funny. They never said she had a great sense of humor because she was she never laughed at their jokes. She was just the one kind of making pointed jokes back.
Well, I don't laugh to laugh though, and that's why I don't look at like dating as a funny experience for me. There weren't a lot of funny guys.
Is Max funny?
He can be. So when it happens, it's like, oh my gosh, that was hilarious. But he's not a silly, funny person. And it's kind of what I love about him.
He's too handsome to be funny.
He's
That's the thing.
He's so hot. But when he's funny, it really blows my mind because you don't see it coming. But I always thought I'd end up with someone really silly, funny. But Max makes so much sense, but in a different lane for me.
Does he laugh at your antics?
He said, like when he says still to this day, like a week or so again, one of the kids said how they'd written one of those little kid love notes, like I love mommy because she, and they filled in, and one of them was funny. And Max goes, you're right, your mama is funny. And I was like, wait, what, Max? Like, and he's like, you're funny. I go, Max, I need to hear that more from you because
I need to hear it too.
He doesn't tell me often that I'm funny. So
when Heather's mad at me, I can break through with being funny. That's the one thing
you're very funny.
Well, you're kind, but I can definitely get a little like if she's really mad, that's what can crack through the facade.
Honestly, it's a magic tool for anyone that has it, like humor, because it softens the immediate reactive emotions, and it's.
I'm trying to gesture you to move closer to the microphone.
Oh, sorry, because I was leaning in at one point, and I was like, I don't want to do that Alyssa thing.
Sorry.
You know how Alyssa leans in like. Someone told me that once. Yeah, it is.
Oh, wow.
I look for my victories wherever I get them. I was like, I'm not going to be Alyssa in the
You're
podcast.
still mad about Alyssa making fun of your dancing.
No,
and now
today
you're
she did at the table.
her.
She said, remember when you spelled YMCA? I said, I wasn't there for YMCA. It was USA, and it was meant to be funny. No, it was Vicky repeating it today.
You are really, really holding on to that.
Well, I'm not mad at Alyssa. I'm worried she's right. What if I'm weird when I dance?
What if?
I think it's that inner troll voice.
Yes. Okay, I'm sorry. I cut you off before.
Yes. Oh, so I when Max thinks I'm funny, it lights up my world, but he doesn't think I'm hilarious. He often doesn't get my references either because they're movie. That's why you're so good to have around, because when I drop my movie quotes and I often am a little wrong, you still know it's close enough.
Yes.
Like horseshoes and hand grenades, and you grab it, and then you, one, remind me I got it wrong, but two, laugh.
Yes.
So.
No, I appreciate your references.
Thank you.
All right, let's get into some other topics. On Amy Poehler's podcast, she said that I mean everyone has a podcast now. I was the first, and now Amy Poehler's got one.
You're the
I mean,
Podfather, according
Seriously?
to your girls. Yeah,
that's right. She said that the biggest turnoff from a man is when they do splits or flips. Fascinating. She saw. I mean, this is a turnoff for her. She saw Tom Cruise do it in The Outsiders and hated it. He also flips in The Firm.
Yeah, he does a round of back handspring with another kid on the streets of New Orleans.
Yes. Oh, good memory. See, you have references.
There we go.
And they were all correct. Is there something Max would do that, or does do, that gives you like that kind of ick? Is there something that just kind of like, oh, don't do that?
So not as much Max, but I do have something I cannot control, and it's how people keep their nails. I've talked about it before.
Oh, you've talked to me about this.
And by the way, when I talk about this, I'm not trying to justify it's a good thing. I hate this part of me because I could discount Prince Charming if he does not keep his hands and his toes kept.
Yes.
Men need to get pedicures. Not regularly because toes grow slower, or the nails grow slower on the toes, but every 3 weeks or so, or if you're putting on a sandal or you're in a hot place, or I'm going to see your foot in any capacity.
Yeah.
It's out of my control. I will look. The first thing I look at on our show when all guests, but the female always have really intricate nails and things, I look at the men's nails. I just need to see your nails.
Give me an example of a male guest that had terrific nails.
I think it was like Rumsfeld. It was like a political. No, I'm not joking. I remember
Donald
thinking,
Rumsfeld?
Yeah, I was like, didn't see that coming. But
Really?
like, it tells me a lot if you've kept your nails up. It's kind of like military training. Like my dad is someone, everything's folded. He went to military school. They teach you not to let anything fall.
Right.
So I am judging.
So it's basic hygiene for you.
It's hygiene, but it's also what does that tell me if you haven't kept your nails
Fascinating.
done? Yeah. And hands are the most obvious. Like, I don't give passes on that.
Yeah.
Toes, I think men have to be reminded that
I
women
listen.
look at them.
I've gone for a pedicure occasionally. Heather makes me do it before we go on any beach vacation.
This is
But
another reason I love Heather.
yeah, but I'm not comfortable with it. I just the whole
Yeah, but
process. I don't enjoy it. I feel very out of place.
It's been falsely
yeah.
gendered. Like, that's the weird part, is it's been made to be this female experience. Anyone that has feet and toes.
I'm not like a massage guy either. I don't like
love
it. Yeah,
a
I know.
massage.
I know.
Max doesn't like a massage.
Yeah, I'm not comfortable with it.
Yeah.
All right, but my hands will be under the table for the rest of this interview.
You keep your nails.
Okay.
I've noticed.
I got to check. I saw this article in Business Insider, and it's about advice tropes that need to go away. Let's see if you agree. Number 1, bring your whole self to work. I'd appreciate it if you brought less of yourself to
I
work.
was going to say, I'm not the right one to ask.
Yeah,
I feel like
you certainly do.
Parts of myself and everyone who knows me to work. It's a lot.
I guess it also depends on what you do for a living.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I would also say that the places I've been, and it's not just being on air, it was behind the scenes.
Right.
If you are working long hours and you're in a job that is a career, like, you really want to be a part of it, I find that my work family absolutely has to know other parts of me, or it's very hard for me to function. So I probably do bring my whole self, but Max has always explained to me law firms are very different. So I don't know if I would have survived as a lawyer.
Yeah, I have trouble partitioning. I feel like after a certain amount of time, people know everything about me. I mean, definitely the staff here knows way too much about me, and because I don't know any other way, and I don't know any other way to be but to just kind of fully give myself.
Well, it's kind of what I do. I'm not all the way into Severance, but it's one of the things I disagree about Severance is I tend to think it's a good strategy as a boss or a leader to obviously not want dysfunctional, like, breaking down all the time. But if someone goes through the loss of someone, or someone's sick, or something's plaguing them, the more you're connected to that person, the more the team falls in place to cover where they need breaks.
Right.
And the better the work morale is, the safer and more it feels less transactional, the harder you're going to get those workers to work. Like, the number one thing, by the way, said about this show is when people have hit some personal strides, they said this show doesn't let you down. And I thought that's huge, because this show is a part of bigger companies and, has parent companies. And in companies, you are a number. There are certain things that are just part of a bigger thing. But the personal side of working for a show like The View, with the history it has, is it takes care of its people. That's why no one leaves.
There's definitely it's hard especially because, I'm a boss here.
Yeah.
And separating the boss and friend thing is tough because, you want to get along and you want to be friends and you want to tell stories, and then you have to hit the switch sometimes and be, boss Brian, and that's harder.
But I don't think it has to be like two things. And I think you walk that line great. Like, you can be friendly, but anybody that's ever been an employee knows there's a moment where it's unemotional. Like, this is how it goes. And to pretend a friendship wipes that out, I almost think when you're friendly with people that are, the power structure is different, I tend to think you have to be a little harder on friends, because you're showing that this is not a favor situation. It's a business.
Yeah, I think so too. All right, here, number 2, follow your passion.
Okay, so yes and no. I don't think there's one passion, just like I don't think there's one soulmate that's out in the world for you. You probably have a lot of passions. Like, there are a lot of things that I could have done. I never did them, so I can't speak to the day-to-day job, but I wanted to work in ocean conservation or marine biology. I wanted to be a teacher. So I remember thinking, you want to find where you enjoy the task, not the passion. So, like, are you someone that can sit at a desk all day? My brother's not one of those people. He needs to be in a job where he's out in like doing things. Know what pleases you. And it's great to have a passion, like to work within things like ocean conservation. But the actual job itself is going to have parts of it that are a job.
Sure, even the dream jobs.
Jobs. And I think there's been some false hope put in people, kind of like the romantic idea of marriage, when we pump people full of happy endings and what marriage is going to be like. We set a lot of people up that it's not aligned with the reality. Same thing with the joys of having kids. No one wants to talk about, you're not going to be happy every minute. You're not going to appreciate every minute. When we talk about jobs, telling every young person, dream big and you can be anything you want. But know the nuances of that. There's going to be a lot of jobs in between. You want to make sure you're happy day to day. If you can go towards something you're passionate about, awesome. But it's not realistic, I don't think, to tell everybody that.
Well, I think it's interesting because the one axiom that I don't think is true is that, like, if you love what you do, it'll never feel like work. No, it still feels like work. Like,
No.
and I love what I do.
Yeah.
I'm proud of what I do, but it's a job and it's
Yeah.
hard. And I love it and I'm proud of it and I wouldn't want to do something else. But
I think you're hitting the core thing here, though, that it doesn't mean if you're doing what you love, it's going to be fun. It's still a job.
right.
Like,
There might be fun
there's
aspects
work.
of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's everything's got an edge to it.
Yes.
So yeah. All right. Let's see. Another one here. Don't job hop.
So I would say I remember thinking when I had my first job and I was getting ready to leave for the Page program, I was finding out I might be in it at the 4-month mark. I had like an entry-level position. And even though it wasn't a job I wanted and the Page program was a dream, I was really sensitive to the fact I did not want to be a new person in the workforce leaving at 4 months. So I was able to somewhat stretch it to at least 6 months with the interview process to get there. But I felt this personal obligation, because when you go to new places, I do think people invest in you, in the training, in the give it a chance also for yourself, because sometimes hopping
Right.
too soon, you haven't given it a moment to settle. But I also don't think it's bad if you find you're somewhere for a decent amount of time. And
Right.
by that, I mean, don't job hop like 3 months in. I don't like my job, I'm leaving. Let's say you've been there a year or 2 years and you're like, I think I'm going to switch, pivot. You got one life.
Yeah,
I'm
no.
fine with that.
I think, I think it's important to keep in mind where you want to be.
Yeah.
And to kind of try to work towards that and to be realistic about how to get there. And there are people who've been at The View since Barbara Walters created it.
A lot of
we're talking
people,
28
yeah.
years. And they're very happy and they've had great, successful careers. And that's amazing. But there's other people who can't get where they want to go. And then in order to do that, sometimes you have to take a risk or take a hop.
The business model is, the higher you climb, less seats there are. And there's a lot of luck and timing in where your life goes. And it only makes sense or sounds cool when you look back. But there are times you have to leave because you're not going to get the next thing you want.
Absolutely. All right. We've got another topic here. We were talking about flight pet peeves this morning.
Oh, gosh. Get me started. Let's bring on the fines.
Let's do it. There was this news that Turkey, the country, not the animal, is going to fine airline passengers for standing up early when you land. Talk about this, and what are your biggest flight pet peeves?
I think there should be a lot more fines, and I think some of it should be, do not crowd the gate when your group has not been called. You have assigned seats, guys. It's on your ticket. This isn't general admission. You don't get on first and get a better spot. Like, wait.
But sometimes those overhead compartments get filled.
I know, and if you have that much need for overhead, gate check it. Like, settle down. Like, I cannot take the crowding the doors. It creates this fever energy, and people already don't like each other just going in. Especially when they go for the wrong group. I love when the flight attendant goes, sorry, you're group 18. What are you doing up here? It's group 2.
They very rarely do that, though. They usually let people
No,
on.
I've watched it, and they're like, sorry, your group's not been called
I respect
yet.
it
And
when
I'm
they do.
Get out of line! Yeah, like,
All
I
right.
love it.
All right.
But then I would say, when they announce someone has an international flight to catch, and by the way, it's not ever been me, but when I hear that, I think, oh, that person must be so uncomfortable in their
Absolutely.
racing. If it were you, everyone would sit down and do it. But when it's someone else, everyone stands up, starts doing their own thing. And I watch as these people start to move through, and I'm like, that's so sad. If
Let
that
them
was,
through.
Yeah, let them through. And also, I would say when your bag is not at your seat and you've pulled in and the ding has gone off and everyone's standing up, don't go get your bag while we're all stuck in an aisle. You didn't get the bag space. Wait till people have cleared a little and then move.
All right, now here's a real question. Do you recline?
I do.
I do too. And
Yeah.
I'm sorry. If you weren't supposed to recline, they wouldn't have. I don't recline like fast and like knock things over. I slowly.
No, the recline is
Recline.
there in the design. It's totally fine.
It is. That's very controversial now. And
Well,
I never thought
think
it would
if you're
be.
in the middle seat or someone's in the middle seat, you should give them both armrests because they're in the middle.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
You only need one side. And if they're leaning on the other one, take your middle seat. But middle seat is a punishment in itself. So, like, give them what they can to be comfortable.
Do you ever play middle seat roulette?
What?
Do you ever book the middle seat hoping that nobody will come on the other side?
Never.
It's a good move. If you're
No,
flying by
because
yourself.
I always get punished by being between two people.
Right, but if you book the middle seat and the other two are empty, there's a good chance no one's going to take those
yeah,
seats.
but that doesn't happen to me. I don't know where you're flying, but usually my flights are full.
All right, fine. Iowa.
to Iowa.
Iowa's full every time?
Yeah.
All right.
Banger of a place.
It really is. Thank you for joining me today, Sara Haines. That's it for Behind the Table this week. We'll be back on Monday with Sunny Hostin. And then as a reminder, on Tuesday, the big live anniversary event.
Podcast.
We're coming back. It's going to be great. We're going to be together.
Better
all
than
of us.
ever.
And it's going to be it's the second annual anniversary Behind the Table extravaganza gala. That's what I'm calling it. Yes.
Did you just add every title to that possible?
Every time. Yeah, it gets a little bigger every time I say it. But it's going to be
Yes.
great. We're very excited. And I look forward to seeing all the Bry guys. And we'll go from
And
there.
the other fans as well.
And the other fans as well. Yeah. Do you have a nickname for your fans? There's
No.
Joy Boys.
What fans? It's my mom and Nathan. Oh, hi. Thank you, Molly.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Behind the Table is executive produced by Brian Teta. Supervising producers are Summer Shake and Nathan Getty, with production assistant Emily Darcy and editor Brian Davis. Special thanks to Laurie Hogan, Molly Kaiser, and Katerina Alexopoulos. Producers for ABC Audio are Trevor Hastings, Camille Peterson, and Amira Williams. With supervising producer Susie Liu, executive producer of podcast programming Laura Mayer, and vice president Liz Alessi.